welcome to episode 33 of the Making It podcast. It's good to be back. We're here for another episode, 33 weeks into the year. We are almost halfway through August, which is
mental.
terrifying, by the way. Don't recommend checking the calendar if you haven't already. But we are here to talk about another week in our lives, and not just a week in our lives, but just stuff that we've seen around us and we think we want to talk about, right? You know, I would say this is it's a good platform for two mates to have a chat. So welcome to Make It. If you haven't listened to us before, Dan, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Just come back off my Mallorca holiday, which was very nice. Good time with the family. Chilled out, did a couple of runs, played paddle for the first time, which was really good fun. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm back home. Got straight back into home life. Got back from my holiday yesterday, and I got back and I was like, do I really want to do a run? But I just knew if I did my 18-kilometer run for my York Marathon training, I just knew if I did that, I'd wake up in the morning and just feel a lot better, not knowing I had to do that today. So I got back, ran off the holiday beers, ran off the holiday food, and I'm feeling back to be home. So I'm good. I'm good, brother. But how's your week been, mate?
It's good. I mean, I've heard you and Kev were tearing up the Maga strip after we spoke about it. So this is a shout out to Kev. You go steady, mate.
We weren't doing that to the Maga strip, but we were to. So my granddad, he's that typical with his holidays. If he finds a bar he likes and then a place he likes to eat, that's it. All within a 100-meter walk. So we were doing that strip a little bit. And one time, my little cousin, he challenged me to a run. He went, "Oh, I can beat you, mate. I'll have to send you the video." But we go to run, and I just dash off, and he stops about 20 meters in.
Dan gets played too easy, mate. Like you get played too easy with stuff like that. And also, I'm gonna have to change your little graphic in the bottom right corner. I'm gonna have to make it a bit more tan now. It's looking like it's for a week in Edinburgh rather than a week in Mallorca. But no, I've been good. I've got a story to tell, which I was going to kind of leave it a bit later on, but I think it ties in nicely to what we want to talk about. So I went out on Saturday night, and it was my first night out alone. I'd been alone in a night out, but I hadn't been out alone. So the whole interaction for me, and I've struggled with social anxiety, I think, a bit this week. It's not something I've ever really had, but I've just noticed that I slur my speech a bit more sometimes when I'm out in public. And I'm just not quite the same. The last few days have been better, but like before that, I was just like a bit like a new feeling for me. So I went to the pub at the top of the road to start with. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go out tonight and have a couple of beers. It's Saturday. Football comes back next week. I'm going to take advantage of being out. So I went out for one beer and I thought, oh, don't know. I've got my going out clothes on. My phone's fully charged. I might just go out for the whole thing. So I had another beer. I had two beers, and then the taxi driver comes and he's this Cockney guy, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to do the Cockney accent because I'm going to mess it up." But he's like, "Oh, I've just took a lad from Nottingham into town now. You might see him." I'm like, "Oh, no way." So I was already thinking, there's a slice of home up here somewhere that like I could see on this night out. Went to the pub. And I had one beer, and I just was like, "Nah, this ain't for me. Like, this is crap. I'm I'm alone." Like I was watching the AFL, Aussie League football, which is all right. But I was sitting there watching it, being like, "Oh my god," just trying to pass time on my phone. Went to go and get my second beer, and I got about a quarter of the way through, and these two students came over and they were like, "Hey, you, what are you doing here alone?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm just having a beer." And they were like, "Do you drink?" "Yeah." I was like, holding a beer, like, "Yeah, of course. Can you help us do a pub golf challenge?" I'm sure, Dan, you can tell us about your pub golf stories at some point in the future. Well, these guys, they needed me to finish this pint off to win the competition. Now, obviously, no competition, mate. Easily done. But there was like 30 or 40 people in this room of just students that were like watching me do it. And they bought me an extra pint as well. So I got 2 free beers. And then after that, I was like, I'm on this. As I'm having my beer, I see this bald man with face tattoos and head tattoos. Now, I'm not going to be prejudiced because my stepdad has face tattoos and he looks awesome. And he's not a criminal. However, there is a stereotype And when I told my mum that I approached a bald man with face and head tattoos in late at night, she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Well, I approached him and I just went, "Bro, how did you get your tattoos? Like, what was the story behind that?" And he went, "I just love tattoos." Like, and he just started talking some gibberish. And then I started talking back to him. And as I was talking, he kept trying to put his finger in my mouth. And I'm like, "What are you doing, mate?" He's like, "Oh, do you not want a tab of acid?" And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said he kept trying to put acid in my mouth. And I'm like, "No, I'm all right. I'm fine." And there was an English guy on the table with him, and we all got talking. And the next thing you know, we're all on the dance floor. These guys are like 50. Just came out of nowhere. And then me and all this group of, Aussie people got dragged into the piano bar, which is like two people facing off against each other on the piano. And I got adopted by various friendship groups in that night. But it was awesome. I walked home. Like, in the time, the time's right to go home. I didn't prolong it. As soon as I got that feeling of now's the time to go home, I was like, I'm going. And I just walked home, got in my house, went to sleep, and I woke up and I went, that was really worth it. Like, I made a couple of mates, like probably people I won't talk to, but like I've made friends. I've spoken to people. And to be honest with you, Dan, like that was a big moment for me because I've not felt as nervous since. And I do feel safe, and secure. Obviously the acid tabs thing wasn't something I expected. So, and for the record, I absolutely did not do any. But yeah, just a mad Byron Bay night out, to be honest.
Mate, it's mental because it's just like you never know what's ahead of you with things like that. You went out, maybe bit of a lonely beer to begin with. All of a sudden, you speak to some random bloke who you wouldn't expect to speak to, and then your night kicks off like that. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. I'm really happy that went well for you because it's moments like that which are the reason you're in Australia. Like you'll never forget that night. Do you know what I mean? And just that idea of going out and doing something, even with the social anxiety you said you're experiencing. I'm proud of you for doing that, brother. You've done
Oh,
a good job. I know a lot of people maybe think, oh, but going out, it's not that big of a deal. But I think maybe social anxiety isn't something we speak about a lot. There's quite a few times that we go out and you may be thinking about who's out or what you're going to speak to people about tonight. I'm not feeling as confident tonight. It's definitely a thing. And you may be drinking a bit more of your beer to kind of become a bit more social. But now you smashed it, brother. Um, Crazy night, man. When you told me that, I was like, yeah, I'm buzzing. He's had a good night, but that's a funny one. That, but
it
also
just came
another
out of
one,
nowhere.
just another one with that idea of like you never know what's ahead of you. Jay was in a bar and he went to stroke what he thought was a cat, and it turned out to be a little bandicoot.
Oh, mate, I forgot about. So right. I'm in this first bar at the top of my road that I spoke about at the very start. And I'm just having a beer. Like, I'd called you, and I come off the phone with you, and I ordered another beer. And I was just sitting there, really nice fire opposite, and like I was just kind of looking around, and then next thing in your peripheral vision, you see something. I'm like, oh, there's a fucking cat. Pardon me, sorry. There's a cat. And I'm like, oh, so I just kind of don't really look at it. I just lean down and like try and stroke it. And I look and it's got this rat tail. And I'm like, no, I thought it was a rat. So the bartender's come over and said, what's up? What's up? Why are you making that face? I said, there's a rat here. There's a rat. And I'm like trying not to say it loud because I don't want to alarm anyone. Like, but I'm like, there's a bloody rat there. Like, you can't have a rat running around your gaff. Do you know what I mean? And sorry to interrupt, but we've got something to tell you. It's Jamie here,
And Daniel here.
and we are from the Making It podcast because you're listening to that right now. Please give us a follow on Spotify and click the notification button because we want you to keep listening and we hope that you're enjoying our content.
And follow us on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Making It Poddy.
And drop us an email, makingitpoddy@gmail.com. Enjoy the episode, and we'll see you soon.
Enjoy.
The next thing you know, 2 minutes later, she comes back and she goes, bad French accent, but it wasn't a rat, it was a bandicoot. And I'm like, what? She goes, it was not a rat, it was a bandicoot. And what the hell is a bandicoot? It's like a possum mixed with a mouse. Like ratty tail, bit of a snouty kind of nose. And I just remember being like, where am I? Like that's when it started to feel like the night out felt alien. Like it's not like an English night out where you see a stray cat and you like try and stroke it or whatever. And, do you know what I mean? Like it's a bandicoot. Like you shouldn't touch that. I don't know. Just the whole thing just made it. It made me realise how weird of a place we are. I forget a lot that I'm 10,000 miles away, man. I still forget about that.
Probably got pretty used to it, haven't you? Really?
Yeah, I'm used to it, but like even then, it's like 2.5 months here. You know, it's still very nervy. You know, meeting people for the first time is something you can do easily when you're with your own people. But when you're in a different culture and all of a sudden it goes from you being one of many to you being one of very few, at least in your mind, like that's super daunting. Because how do you? Like, I see loads of people in cafes when I'm there all day and I think, God, I can talk to you, I can talk to you. You can talk to anyone. This isn't a game. This isn't like where you have like a set amount of people. You can speak to anyone, but it's like, how do you get past that first thing? Like I've been
Yeah.
trying to just puff my chest out, but it's like,
I mean, you never know what can come from a conversation. It's like with your coaching where you met, was it Matt or Mikey?
Mikey, yeah.
Mikey, and then that's led into your football coaching experience. I'll always relay into when I first met John when I was working at Red House. I think it's just I've always found it's just being interested in people, having an interest in them, because people like to talk about what they're up to, what they do with their lives, and I think it's interesting because I've never been really in your position because even when I went to uni, it was a case of you're in a flat with people, you all get the idea of you're going to be getting along with each other. I think the only time maybe was when I was going out to the sports ball and I'd never met any of the ones players before, and then I'm in a bar with all of them before the sports ball and have a couple of drinks, and I'm sat there thinking, don't really know what to do here because I don't really know all these lads. They're all in their sort of group. I'm kind of having a conversation when I can, but a lot of the time there were times I was actually just stood there, not actually saying anything, and I felt like a bit of a weirdo at times.
Mm,
But I was out there for a award. It was a good night, and that's just how it is. Sometimes you put in these situations where, even though you're a confident person, you almost don't feel like you are because it's a completely new situation. And with you, it's like being out in Australia. It's like just trying to go up to and speak to people who they're just locals, but you're trying to actually meet people. Like it is difficult, but it is that beauty of you never know what can happen with a conversation. You just never know. I just find it amazing where it's like all these things that we're doing now. You're out in Australia. I'm doing my football coaching at uni. Just everything you're doing, you just don't expect it to happen. Even us doing this podcast, like
mm.
you never know what's ahead of you. You never know what the future holds, and it's exciting. And that's where I think, like we speak about, we're saying yes to opportunities. And I think about when I did my first marathon with Noah. If I didn't say yes to doing that, I wouldn't have ended up doing these next two. This Shakespeare one that I'm doing, this York I'm going to do with my auntie, and they've been a massive thing for me. And I think at those first stages, we're afraid, relating to last episode, we're afraid to say yes and afraid to do it. But just saying yes to things and giving it a go, and that sort of roll on effect is really important. And I think the sporting world is a good example of how we never know what's ahead of us. So say the Community Shield the other day, watching it, oh my God, Liverpool were amazing to begin with. We're in the bar, Mallorca. My dad's loving it because he's a Liverpool fan. He was amazed by the football. And then obviously Crystal Palace went on to win it. And this tennis player, which I learned about, this Victoria Mboko, this lady, female tennis player, she was over 300 rank in the world, and now she's 24 from winning a Canadian final. She wouldn't have expected that, but now she's in that position. It's just amazing where life can take you. What's a moment for you outside of Australia, where or outside of your commentary, just something new which we haven't heard about before, where you did something and just what happened after you just never expected?
Ooh, I mean, I've obviously mentioned the school football team one a long time ago, which was always a big one for me because that was my ultimate. Um, that's the one thing my stepdad always says to me when I say I can't do something. He's like, remember how you were in that moment. Like I always remember that. As in like something through a conversation or just like
How
something.
about how about with your journalism? your Twitter these days gets quite a lot of gets a good amount of
Oh,
impressions. Your YouTube, if you post a video, gets a good 100 views. Just starting that, like I bet you never really expected it to get to that sort of level.
no, I grinded. Like I'd stream every night, like live stream every night for Forest stuff. Like we had some funny streams, like really high viewing streams. Probably one of the craziest is when one of the followers of the YouTube channel texted me and said, "Would you want to interview Michael Dawson?" And I'm like, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" kind of thing. Like, of course, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I'm just gonna get a feel for this guy to see if he's like legit. And I give him my number, and we're texting on WhatsApp for a while, and he sets up this group. And Michael Dawson sends through like a voice note or like I speak to him at some point, and I'm like, oh my God, like this guy who sells shoes, who's just a follower of my channel, just randomly put me up with Michael Dawson. And through there, obviously, I've been really lucky to meet a load of great people. David Prutton as well, shout out. Hopefully, they'll both be watching this because I'll send it to them. So if you're listening, love you both, long time. But yeah, just I don't know. You don't expect these meetings to come through people like that. And through David Prutton, I went and did work experience at Sky Sports with Michael Dawson. I met him at the England under-21s game. We had loads of great chats. He's introduced me to people. So, yeah, like you say, you don't know where a conversation can lead, but like you also don't know where a situation can lead if you don't just try, right? Which is the medicine that I need to give myself. Tomorrow, I've got a free day where I can go into town again. I've been working this week. I've earned some pocket money, so I'm going to get some lunch and some, have a coffee, treat myself. And you know what? I am just going to try and start a conversation with someone. Like, shout out to Matt. Matt just turned up in Byron today, rang me up. Oh, you around? Yeah, I'm here, mate. Yeah. Let's go and have some lunch. And we went to Belongel Beach, and we both kind of said to each other, we need to go to the beach more. Like I didn't actually appreciate how good the beach was where we were until I went out earlier and looked around and went, wow, that beach is literally like 2 minutes away from me. What am I doing? Like constantly walking away from it. But yeah, the main point I'm trying to make is that if you don't try, you don't know where a situation can go. And how awful would it be for you to live your life? And I don't know about you, Dan, but I ponder on stuff. If I don't do something that I see I would like to be curious about, and I don't at least inquire about it, it haunts me.
Well, there's something that I learned recently just from seeing a clip on Instagram with someone speaking about when you feel inspired to do something, do it. So when I was on holiday, I just suddenly got this urge to just make a little YouTube video for my YouTube. So I went to my hotel room, got my granddad's camera, which he gave me, did it. It's only a couple minutes, but I'm going to post it. And I just did it. When I was on the plane, I just thought about football coach and it all started coming. So I started writing down everything and now I'm more prepared for next year. But there's been times where I thought about something, it's like, okay, that's a good idea, but I'm just going to write that down. I'll do it another time. But you don't end up doing it. So doing it in those moments where you really feel inspired to do it is really important. I want to talk about a couple of things which I took away from my holiday. Because I think holidays are really good for that. Going away for a week and you're not really doing too much. Like, yes, I did a couple of runs and played a bit of paddle, but you're chilling, you're having a few drinks, you're having nice food, you're not doing an awful lot. And I realized it links to that idea of wherever you are in the world, those dark thoughts you get and those thoughts that you can experience can still hit you. I'm playing paddle, and all of a sudden, I just get those thoughts of those thoughts I spoke about before in the podcast about, that sort of I'm thinking about my girlfriend's like past a little bit, and that's been something we spoke about in here before. Those dark thoughts that have really hit me, and I've been great with it recently. But it's amazing how just like you can be anywhere in the world, be in a great moment in your life, and you're playing paddle, and all of a sudden I dropped off with my game on paddle a little bit because I was thinking about these things. I was like, Dan, and I'm trying to think in those moments where like those dark thoughts really trap you. So how'd you bounce back? So I took a few deep breaths. I looked around me. I said, "There's my dad. There's my cousin. There's my brother. We're playing a bit of paddle. We're having fun. I'm present. I'm in the sunny Mallorca. Let's get into it." take a few deep breaths, and we're back. It's just amazing how no matter what situation you can be in, no matter where you are in the world, your thoughts are always there. Your mind is always there. Those things you've always thought about, those things that you're thinking about will always be there. And that's something you can't escape. And that's the beauty of being open with yourself, not trying to fight it, but let it in and let it pass. And another thing was, I always find towards the end of a holiday, I wanted to get back in the game. Do you know what I mean? You wanted to get back home and get back into doing work. And that's why I put on our story, or making it story. I said, how long is an ideal holiday for you? No one put 5 days, but 7 days, 10 days, and 2 weeks was what people were putting. But for me, 5, 7 days for me is enough, because I just know after when it's holiday time, I want to get back working. Have you been on holiday before and you get that urge to just go back home and get back grinding again? Do you know what I mean?
Most of the holidays, because after the third or fourth day, I'm like, this is the same stuff over and over again. The only place I don't get bored of seeing, as much as it's boring, is home. Like even here, I'm seeing the same stuff every day. I'm like, it's great, but it's like a bit boring because I see it every day. But it's like when you add variation into it with people, then they make the environment that you're in somewhat spontaneous. And that's when it doesn't become boring, because all of a sudden, that park you walk past, you share it with someone, and then you hold a memory in that park. And then that park suddenly becomes not just a park, it becomes something you want to do and someone you want to see. But like the reason I enjoyed city holidays so much is because you can spend 3 or 4 days in a city, see everything, wear yourself out, go on every night out you want to do, and be proximate, close to everything. And you're like, yeah, that's enough. Like me and Deck went to Berlin for 6 days. Like, and in that time I had the flu, kind of went in bed, came out of bed. Like it was like we'd lived a month there, but it was the best feeling ever. Like coming home after that, because I was like, I want to go home now. We're all done. But it wasn't like that draggy end of holiday feeling where you're like, God, I just want to go home. Because, you know, if you ever come out to Oz, bro, you'll feel that when you have to go home, that feeling of, oh my God, I just want to be at home. And it's being dragged out over 30 hours, over 2 days. Your life just feels like it's crumbling. It just feels like it's crumbling. It's kind of mad that you get home on the same day as well. But because obviously the time differences, but it's a killer. So I would say my ideal holiday is definitely in the 5 days region. But here I am, 365 days, mate. Why not? Why not? But I do think that there's, and I want to kind of go back to something you mentioned there, like instinct, because, you know, instinctually we miss the things that we see a lot as much as we dislike sometimes seeing things a lot, because it's comfort. So you'll find comfort in seeing the people you're around. You'll find comfort in knowing that the shop's got everything you want in it. You find comfort in all these things. So I want to ask you a question about instinct. Is instinct better for you because it forces you to do things that you sort of don't want to do? Or do you, I mean, this is different for everyone, but like, do you feel that instinct brings you to do, or that gut feeling brings you to do things that challenge you? Or do you think it more so brings you to do things that comfort you?
I think that gut feeling, that instinct for me is the feeling which it's telling us what we know we should be doing or want to be doing
Hmm.
or is best for us. That's how I've always found it. A lot of my decisions I've made have been based on what my heart and my gut says, just like that trust in my gut instinct, my intuition. And it's always led me down the right path, because it's something that fascinates me, because there's so many routes to life. And there's so many different people going down different routes, going down different paths. Some people are at uni, some people are doing a degree apprenticeship, some people are straight into work, some people aren't doing work, but they're trying to pursue their dreams. Some people like you are out in Aussie for a year. Everyone's doing different things. We don't all live the same life. But why is that? Because we go at what we want to do. And for me, that intuition is massive, because if you're following the path you want to lead down, the path you want to be going down, because it is everything you've almost dreamed of. It's that this feels right. Yeah, I know some people, they get out of uni and they go into, no, not uni, but they get out of school and they go into something just related for money. It's just to do with money, and then they realize, this ain't for me because I chose it for money. I didn't choose it for something I want to do. My granddad said to me on holiday, he said, "You will be rich if you do something you love every day, because you enjoy it. You wake up and you want to go to work. You're excited for your day. I think for me that is what being rich is. That should be what life is about. And when we follow those gut instincts, we get closer to that every day. With everything, relationships, with things you want to do with your day, whatever sport you want to play, if you want to go for a coffee with someone, if you want to work in a certain job, if you want to do a certain career, you want to start a YouTube channel or do a podcast, if it feels right, it's going to be so much rewarding. So for me, that gut instinct and that feeling is what I like to ride off a lot of the time. And you have to be smart as well. You have to make sure you get the gut instinct and then you think about it a little bit because you do need to be smart and have a bit of wit about you. But for me, that gut feeling is massive. I mean, have you ever been in a conflict between your head and your gut? And how do you feel about riding off that intuition?
God, all the time, everything. Like seeing a bin on the street that's been knocked over. Do you pick it up and put stuff back in it, or do you just walk past it? Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Really small things is usually what gets me. I went through a period after my uncle died of like just going off gut instinct, just gut for everything. And I would say it served me really well. And then I got a bit uncomfortable and stopped doing it. I feel like I need to go back into that state of mind with things. Like, I mean, my gut instinct was have a beer at 1 o'clock at lunch today. I don't know why. It was a stupid idea, but it was there and I took that. But like, the thing is with gut instinct is like, it does push you out your comfort zone, but you can't actually think rationally straight away. So like, as much as you have that thing of gut instinct says do this, the delay between recognizing what it's asking you to do and dealing with how uncomfortable it is and your solutions for things going wrong is like crazy. I feel like as humans, we always see great things and then immediately after go, how can this go wrong? And then we go, what can we do to stop this going wrong? And then if we go, well, if we can't stop it going wrong, what's the damage limitation? So before you've even done something good, you're already in the gutters about where it could go. So I'm trying to coach myself out of that, to be honest. Like, as much as I love to read blogs and I love to, listen to people on the internet and stuff, like I am just trying to do it my own way, with stuff like that. And with the social anxiety thing, I'm a really confident person publicly. I don't struggle with that, but it's just the adjusting to culture, the fact people are different here, and not knowing what to say. Like, you become comfortable in your environment. Football people are good at speaking to football people, but maybe they're not so good at speaking to someone about cricket. It's just not what they know. Like, and when I'm in a coffee shop, I'll be honest, I feel a bit out of place because I'm like, I should be here with one of my friends. I'd never sit here on my own. So, and also learning to, I will say, going off topic a little bit, but I've been learning to try and enjoy my own time a bit and realizing that this time now where I'm pretty much on my own a lot of the day is actually something I won't get to experience much again in the rest of my life, because I aim to have a relationship and I aim to have work and employment and things that will keep me busy. So this time on my own, having this much thinking time, I'm just trying to use it as constructively as I can.
No, it's good, man. I feel like nothing is ever really the same with your life. And it's understanding that what we once did before, we won't do again. So say, for example, you have a certain mindset for a bit and it's like, okay, I'm going to be like this for the rest of the time. You can't be like that. Why do you look so concerned?
Mate, the biggest lightning flash just went off outside. I'm sorry. That was
Look at
massive.
that.
Sorry.
It's all right. But there you go. You never know what's ahead of you. You're doing a podcast and a lightning strike just happens. You know what I mean? But I think, say with you, right? You're at home and you're confident all the time. Not all the time, but you go to Aussie. It's a new experience. You've now got to almost. It's that question of what do I do now? It's reset. How do I tackle this situation? And these things, nothing will ever be the same. Things are constantly changing. So that is also where I like to link that intuition. In those moments where things are constantly changing and our day to day is different, we're in a new job or we're surrounded by different people. If you're going off who you are and who you want to be, you'll still go in the right direction despite things changing around you. So that is another powerful thing for me with gut instinct. But is there anything else you'd like to speak about before the end of this podcast, brother?
I like football, Dan. But when we were just talking before in the pre-thing and I said about principles, right, and structure, you can structure your life how you want and how you want your team to play. But until you give them a set of principles, they don't know how to act on that structure. So have principles, have values for things that you do in life. Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Did you hear that? That was good, wasn't it? And then those values and principles that you use on a set structure of something you want to achieve, like maybe your current job, how you view it, and how you apply your personal principles and who you are, carry them with you throughout life, and you will be a consistent person. That's what we
It's
should
the
all do.
basics, isn't it? It's what are your foundations? What are the things you do all the time, which are about yourself, which are the identity you want to be?
Yeah.
Even just drinking a lot of water in a day, your health basics. What are these things that you do every day? Your values, your principles, which guide you towards who you want to be, despite the situation you're in. Yeah, 100%, brother.
Be consistent with yourself, man, and also don't shy away from who you are because other people want you to be something else or because you think they want you to be someone else. Because I can guarantee most people don't care about your life. That's the one thing I'm realizing about my life is when I walk into a coffee shop and I'm like, God, I think he's staring at me, or I think they're talking about me, or I was like, these guys are just looking at you going, all right, fair enough, and getting on with their day, or they're not even looking at you at all. So, but that's human nature, right? Worrying about those things. So that's all I've got to say on that, though, Dan. To be honest, I think we're about to have a massive thunderstorm, so I reckon that the Wi-Fi is going to go very soon. But it has been great chatting to you again. I've loved it. I don't know where 32 minutes went, to be completely honest with you. But I'm going to sit down and enjoy a lightning show, and hopefully we don't get struck. But Dan, thank you for joining me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry about the later episode this week. We both had a really mental couple of weeks, so we'll be back to normal for next week's episode and obviously going forward. Other than that, that's all from me, mate.
Look after yourselves, everybody. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Take care. See you soon. That was episode 33. Follow us on all the socials. See you soon.
Bye.
Right all night. Feel so right.